ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। 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 ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्।
ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतु। गणेशाय नमः, सरस्वत्यै नमः, श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः, भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः। स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः, स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्ताक्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमस्ते गणपतये त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं तत्त्वमसि त्वमेव केवलं कर्तासि त्वमेव केवलं धर्तासि त्वमेव केवलं हर्तासि त्वमेव सर्वं खल्विदं ब्रह्मासि त्वं साक्षादात्मासि नित्यं ऋतं वच्मि सत्यं वच्मि अवत्वं माम् अवक्तारम् अवश्रोतारम् अवदातारम् अवधातारम् अवानुचानमवशिष्यम् अवपश्चात्तात् अवपुरस्तात् अवोत्तरात् अवदक्षिणात् अवचोर्ध्वात् अवाद्धरात् सर्वतो मां पाहि पाहि समन्तात् त्वं वाङ्मयस्त्वं चिन्मयः त्वमानन्दमयस्त्वं ब्रह्ममयः त्वं सच्चिदानन्दाद्वितीयोऽसि त्वं प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वं ज्ञानमयो विज्ञानमयोऽसि सर्वं जगदिदं त्वत्तो जायते सर्वं जगदिदं त्वत्तस्तिष्ठति सर्वं जगदिदं त्वयि लयमेष्यति सर्वं जगदिदं त्वयि प्रत्येति त्वं भूमिरापो नलो निलो नभः त्वं चत्वारि वाक्पदानि त्वं गुणत्रयातीतः त्वम् अवस्थात्रयातीतः त्वं देहत्रयातीतः त्वं कालत्रयातीतः त्वं मूलाधारस्थितोऽसि नित्यं त्वं शक्तित्रयात्मकः त्वां योगिनो ध्यायन्ति नित्यं त्वं ब्रह्मा त्वं विष्णुस्त्वं रुद्रस्त्वमिन्द्रस्त्वमग्निस्त्वं वायुस्त्वं सूर्यस्त्वं चन्द्रमास्त्वं ब्रह्म भूर्भुवस्सुवरों गणादीन् पूर्वमुच्चार्य वर्णादीन् तदनन्तरम् अनुस्वारः परतरः अर्धेन्दुलसितम् तारेण रुद्धम् एतत्तवमनुस्वरूपम् गकारः पूर्वरूपम् अकारो मध्यमरूपम् अनुस्वारश्चान्त्यरूपम् बिन्दुरुत्तररूपम् नादः सन्धानम् सगुम्हिता सन्धिः सैषा गणेशविद्या गणकऋषिः विक्षुद्गायत्री छन्दः गणपतिर्देवता ॐ गं गणपतये नमः एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्तिः प्रचोदयात् एकदन्तं चतुर्हस्तं पाशमङ्कुशधारिणम् रदं च वरदं हस्तैर्बिभ्राणं मूषकध्वजम् रक्तं लम्बोदरं शूर्पकर्णकं रक्तवाससं रक्तगन्धानुलिप्ताङ्गं रक्तपुष्पैः सुपूजितम् भक्तानुकम्पिनं देवं जगत्कारणमच्युतम् आविर्भूतं च सृष्ट्यादौ प्रकृतेः पुरुषात् परम् एवं ध्यायति यो नित्यं स योगी योगिनां वरः नमो व्रातपतये नमो गणपतये नमः प्रमथपतये नमस्ते अस्तु लम्बोदरायैकदन्ताय विघ्ननाशिने शिवसुताय वरदमूर्तये नमः एतदथर्वशीर्षं योधीते स ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते स सर्वविघ्नैर्न बाध्यते स सर्वत्र सुखमेधते स पञ्चमहापापात् प्रमुच्यते सायमधियानो दिवसकृतं पापं नाशयति प्रातरधियानो रात्रिकृतं पापं नाशयति सायं प्रातः प्रयुञ्जानो पापो पापो भवति सर्वत्राधीयानोपविघ्नो भवति धर्मार्थकाममोक्षं च विन्दति इदमथर्वशीर्षमशिष्याय न देयम् यो यदि मोहात् दास्यति स पापीयान् भवति सहस्रावर्तनाद्यं काममधीते तं तमनेन साधयेत् अनेन गणपतिमभिषिञ्चति स वाग्मी भवति चतुर्ध्यामनश्नं जपति स विद्यावान् भवति इत्यथर्वणवाक्यम् ब्रह्माद्यावरणं विद्यान्न बिभेति कदाचनेति यो दूर्वाङ्कुरैर्यजति स वैश्रवणोपमो भवति यो लाजैर्यजति स यशोवान् भवति स मेधावान् भवति यो मोदकसहस्रेण यजति स वाञ्छितफलमवाप्नोति यस्साज्यसमिद्भिर्यजति स सर्वं लभते स सर्वं लभते अष्टौ ब्राह्मणान् सम्यक् ग्राहयित्वा सूर्यवर्चस्वी भवति सूर्यग्रहे महानद्यां प्रतिमासन्निधौ वा जप्त्वा सिद्धमन्त्रो भवति महाविघ्नात् प्रमुच्यते महादोषात् प्रमुच्यते महाप्रत्यवायात् प्रमुच्यते स सर्वविद्भवति स सर्वविद्भवति य एवं वेद इत्युपनिषत् भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्ददातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं तु यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव नारायण नमोऽस्तु ते विसर्गबिन्दुमात्राणि पदपादाक्षराणि च न्यूनानि चातिरिक्तानि क्षमस्व साईश्वरा अपराधसहस्राणि क्रियन्ते हर्निशं मया दासोऽयमिति मां मत्वा क्षमस्व साईश्वरा अन्यथा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम। तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष साईश्वरा। हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु।
गौरी नंदन गजानना गौरी गौरी नंदन गजानना गौरी नंदन गंगाधर हर शंभो नंदन गंगाधर हर शंभो नंदन गंगाधर हर शंभो नंदन गंगाधर हर शंभो नंदन परम सुमंगल मूषिक वाहना परम सुमंगल मूषिक वाहना गान विनोदन गजानना हे गान विनोदन गजानना गौरी नंदन गंगाधर हर शंभो नंदन गंगाधर हर शंभो नंदन परम सुमंगल मूषिक वाहना गान विनोदन गजानना हे गान विनोदन गजानना
सद्गुरु साई सरस्वती
सद्गुरु साई सरस्वती
सद्गुरु साई सरस्वती
सद्गुरु साई सरस्वती
ब्रह्मदेव सत्य भारती
रघुपति राघव राजा राम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम। पतित पावन सीताराम। पतित पावन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम। पतित पावन सीताराम। पतित पावन राम राम जय राजा राम। राम राम जय राजा राम। राम जय सीताराम। राम राम जय सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम। पतित पावन सीताराम। रघुपति राघव राजा राम। पतित पावन सीताराम। राम राम जय राजा राम। राम राम जय सीताराम। राम राम जय
जय देवी दुर्गा गौरी शंकरी पार्वती। जय देवी दुर्गा गौरी शंकरी पार्वती। भुवन मोहिनी ललिता लक्ष्मी कलावती। भुवन जय देवी दुर्गा गौरी शङ्करी पार्वती कमलकामिनी हरिनारायणी भगवती कमलकामिनी हरिनारायणी भगवती शक्ति के अवतारा मेरे बाबा मेरे साईं राम साईं राम साईं राम साईं राम हिंदू मुस्लिम ईसाई आते हैं तेरे द्वारे आते हैं तेरे द्वारे साईं राम 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 साईं शिव शिव शंभो तांडव प्रियकर शिव शिव शंभो तांडव प्रियकर भव भव भैरव भवानी शंकर भव भव भैरव भवानी शंकर शिव शिव शंभो तांडव प्रियकर हर हर बम बम बोल महेश्वर हर हर बम बम बोल महेश्वर डम डम डमरू नटन मनोहरा डम डम डमरू नटन मनोहरा सत्यं शिवं साई सुन्दरा सत्यं शिवं साई सुन्दरा शिव शिव शंभो तांडव प्रियकर भव भव भैरव भवानी शंकर शिव शिव शंभो तांडव प्रियकर हर हर बम बम बोल महेश्वर डम डम डमरू नटन मनोहरा सत्यं शिवं साई सुन्दरा सत्यं शिवं साई सुन्दरा
ॐ नमो नारायणाय हरि ॐ नारायणाय ॐ नमो नारायणाय हरि ॐ नारायणाय श्री लक्ष्मी नारायणाय श्री साई नारायणाय श्री लक्ष्मी नारायणाय श्री साई नारायणाय बोलो हरि 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 ओम नारायण ओम नमो नारायणाय हरि ओम नारायणाय श्री लक्ष्मी नारायणाय श्री साई नारायणाय हरि 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 ओम नारायण बोलो हरि 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 ओम नारायण ओम नमो नारायणाय हरि ओम नारायणाय श्री लक्ष्मी नारायणाय श्री साई नारायणाय हरि 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 ओम नारायण बोलो हरि 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 ओम नारायण हरि 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 ओम नारायण बोलो हरि 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 ओम नारायण ओम नमो नारायणाय हरि ओम नारायण
माधवा गोपाला माधवा गोपाला नंदन घन श्याम
शंकर देवा शंभु शंकर देवा तू बाबा महादेवा सत्य साई बाबा महादेवा शंभो शंकर देवा पाहि प्रभु शरणं देवा पाहि प्रभु शरणं देवा भोले बाबा महादेवा सत्य साई बाबा महादेवा शंभो शंकर देवा भोले बाबा महादेवा सत्य साई बाबा महादेवा पाहि प्रभु शरणं देवा पाहि प्रभु शरणं देवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा ओम हर हर गंगे महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा ओम हर हर गंगे महादेवा ओम हर हर गंगे महादेवा
हरि 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 स्मरण करो हरि 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 स्मरण करो हरि चरण कमल ध्यान करो हरि चरण कमल ध्यान करो हरि 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 स्मरण करो मुरली माधव सेवा करो मुरली माधव सेवा करो मुरहर गीतारि स्मरण करो मुरहर गीतारि स्मरण
multi-faith prayer, requesting all devotees to join in. The Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
I offer my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our dearest Swami, respected elders, brothers, sisters, and children. Jai Sai Ram. A warm and loving welcome to our dear brothers and sisters, our active workers, and those who are either visiting or joining us at the centre for the very first time. We are blessed today as a centre to be celebrating 34 blissful and loving years, and we are delighted to now have Sister Shivali share some of her personal experiences. We are especially lucky as Shivali was one of Hill Sai Centre's very first Barbicast students.
I offer my humble salutations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, respected elders, brothers, sisters, and dearest children. Jai Sai Ram. Wow, 34 years, and where has that time gone? I'm really going to struggle today to try not to give my age away. But time at Mill Hill, but at the time Mill Hill was in its infancy, the World Wide Web had just been introduced to the public. The super famous sitcom Friends had just been launched, and the movie Jurassic Park had just been released. Now fast forward, and how much are we influenced by the internet today? In the same way, my Bal Vikas experience really has played a huge role in what makes me the person I am today. So how did it begin? Well, I think it was in the summer of 1991 or 92, and this is really where my memory fails me. But we've been told that Sunday morning bhajans take place in Mill Hill, and they start at 8:30. After 2 failed attempts of actually finding where we were going, we finally found Canada Villa. Canada Villa was a youth club. It wasn't the nicest of places. It was poorly decorated, some of it was dirty, and the place was looking tired. But on a Sunday morning, the hall was vibrant. It was full of energy and really became a spiritual haven for so many of us. I remember walking in the initial few weeks, and while Swami's photo would of course be the focal point of the altar, the red curtain that framed the stage had this very welcoming feel to it. It was a red curtain, and on it, in white, was painted Sathya Sai Centre of Mill Hill. And I think you can see that in the photo on the presentation. This, for some reason, almost became the face of Mill Hill Centre. Every time you see a photo of the centre, the red curtain dominated, and there it is there, Sathya Sai Centre of Mill Hill. Now, going to Sunday morning bhajans became a habit and a routine very quickly, and as a young child, I was very used to attending bhajans, satsangs with my grandmother. So for me, the early morning bhajans at 8:30 didn't really faze me, and I was completely fine by it. So as you know, in the summer we celebrate Janmashtami, Krishna Jayanti, and that summer came around very quickly. Now, as children, we'd never been to bhajans at 10 o'clock at night. This was unheard of. But that year we went to the Krishna Jayanti celebrations, and what a huge treat this was going to be. Now that year I remember vividly walking into Canada Villa, expecting to see the red curtain, Swami's photo in the middle, on the 3-step platform, that was always covered in white. But I didn't know that this was going to be a really special bhajan. And Auntie Surbi Vishwanathan and the team had created this magnificent altar with a huge chariot with Lord Krishna at the reins. And I really wish that I had a photo of this, but I don't. And I'm sure if we look in the Hill Centre archives, we may actually find it. It covered the whole stage, and it really did depict the scene from the Bhagavad Gita. We've also here at Mill Hill been very blessed to have some incredible musicians, and at that time that included Brother Loga. He could have been a professional tabla player, but I believe he now lives in Malaysia. And we also have some outstanding singers. So bhajans that evening, once again, as always, were just outstanding. So Janmashtami finished and September came along very quickly. And we heard that Bal Vikas classes took place here. And of course, it was just a given that we would attend. We have to remember that back then, Sundays were the day for these sorts of activities and family time. So we just took it in our stride. There were 3 Bal Vikas groups and a smallish youth wing. Canada Villa wasn't actually that big. There were no classrooms. The front room was used for bhajan practice. The so-called gym wasn't always accessible. And so the main hall was divided into 2 with this big backdrop that had a massive rainbow painted on it. And group 3 was taken across the road where Radni Auntie used to live, and she was very kind enough to open her house, and that's where I had my classes, in her house. Bal Vikas, when I started, was headed up by Mrs. Ranumeta Aradia, and I'm still very fortunate to work with her at the Sai School of Harrow that's just celebrated its 29th birthday as well. She had 2 main objectives. How can children do better? And how can we all become citizens in the community? Just like today, there was a really strong army of Bal Vikas teachers who also shared her passion in wanting to take Swami's message and mission much further. Sunday morning classes followed the Sri Sathya Sai Bal Vikas program. Dasan Uncle was the centre president at the time, and I think that was followed by Vadgama Uncle as either the centre chair or the vice president. So with their help and hard work, and all Bal Vikas students and parents got together, and the Hill Sai Centre put on the very first exhibition in London called Unity in the Community. So if we just go back one slide, you can see a few photos from that. Now, remember, technology hadn't advanced that much. The internet had just been launched. So all the exhibition items that you see on the second photo were all handmade by us parents, children, and all the volunteers. We'd invited guests from the local area that included all religious establishments. The mayor was also there. It was a huge success, and we really did transform what was quite a tired-looking youth centre into a magnificent exhibition space. Massive success. And I can remember that all of us as children really took pride in showing everyone around. Multi-faith became our identity. And every performance, talk, play we did emphasized that. So moving on to the next slide. That play, unfortunately, that is me in the photograph in the top corner, all depicted multi-faith. So as we moved through the Bal Vikas curriculum, I moved to group 3, and my teacher at the time was Sister Anita Devi. Now, she does know this, but I was horribly scared of her. She was strict, she was firm, she wasn't going to be taking any nonsense from us whatsoever. We had to have our hair tied neatly. She'd be shocked to see me standing here like this today. We had to sit straight in class. We had to be respectful at all times. So going into group 3, there was this massive level of sheer dread. Now, there was also this expectation that Bal Vikas students at that time become more involved in centre activities. And just like today, the Bal Vikas students would get up and do the thought for the week each week. The format of the centre hasn't really changed that much over the years, and we would get guest speakers coming in regularly. But when a request comes in that a Group 3 student should be one of the speakers on a Sunday, can you imagine the tsunami of thoughts that was going through our class? Dread, fear, you name it, we had it. Sister Anita gave us 2 weeks to prepare. She gave us various topics, but she didn't tell us very late as to who was going to be that chosen speaker. Anyway, in Group 3, and I must give credit to her, that not only would she see us on a Sunday, but she would also contact us during the week just to see how we would be getting on. So, on that particular Thursday, I got my usual phone call, how's my week going? All good, happy days. Until the dreaded announcement, on Sunday, you will be that guest speaker. I was a complete nervous wreck. How on earth am I going to be doing this? So, for those of you who knew me at the time, I was unbelievably quiet. I used to bite my nails. I had the fear of death about everything. And she wanted me to stand up and do a talk. I was always so inspired by Sister Darshi, who used to do the Sunday morning announcements at the time. And I often used to talk about, I think she should be on TV. She's so good. She should be a news broadcaster. She gives the announcements so well. And Sister Anita clocked onto this. Now, she did say that we're going to get this fear of yours out. You will be able to stand up and you will be able to talk in public. And honestly, I thought she was throwing me into the deep end. Or actually, I thought she was throwing me under the bus. We'd been talking about our character and our identity in class. So my chosen topic was actually, why is my name Shivali? And at least it was something I was familiar with. I practiced, but Sister Anita gave me 3 pieces of very sound advice. Firstly, always remember that the moment you have acknowledged Swami being there, he will be the driving force. Leave it to him. And secondly, if you get the first line of what you're saying correct, you'll be fine for the rest. And that first line usually acknowledges Swami. So why are you scared? The other thing that she said, and it really hit home back to the Krishna Janmashtami celebrations that we'd attended, she said, just like Lord Krishna told Arjuna on the battlefield, always be ready. You too should always be ready. So me calling you on that Thursday evening and telling you that you're doing your talk on a Sunday shouldn't have fazed you. Anyway, that Sunday came, I did my talk, and really that was the start of how I started speaking in public. From then on, under the guidance of our very dearest Briyakan uncle and now the late Ganesh uncle, the centre gave me an amazing opportunity to attend a 3-day national personal development training course headed up by Brother Ishwar Patel. Sunday morning announcements became routine, and now we're lucky we get them ahead of time, because back then, having worked with all the centre presidents, we were writing them whilst the bhajans were going on. So the last 30-odd years, including those COVID years, have really gone very quickly. Moving out of Canada Villa, for those that attended from very early on, was actually quite hard and emotional. The red curtain which framed the stage was no longer there, but that's all material. Our love for Swami is still there, and our spiritual connection is, of course, still there. So really, to end, and to all Bal Vikas students here, I know times are different, but I know what you learn here at the centre is going to be so beneficial for when you grow up. Just like me, this is how I learned how to speak in public, and if I had not done it here at the centre, I would have not been able to do it at work or university. Always listen to your teachers, respect them, doesn't matter how scary they are, and always be ready. And here's to many, many more years of Hill Sai Centre. And I just... Thank you. And I just wanted to share a few of the pictures. So I know we're flipping between slides 1 and 2, but here you can see, I think this is a group 1 or a group 2. I think group 2 is the middle picture, and then you've got group 1, and there's Das and Uncle holding a little child there. We did a play on multi-faith in the top corner, and of course, there is me in the bottom corner, still with the mic. So with that, thank you, and once again, here's to another a lot of years of Hill Sai Centre. Saira.
Thank you, Shivali, for sharing some of your personal moments at the centre over the years. We will now be celebrating 34 years with a special song and cutting of the cake.
आओ हम सब मिलकर दीप से दीप जलाए, दीप जलाए। सत्य दीप साई ने जलाया, तन मन का दीप जलाए। आओ हम दीप से दीप जलाए। हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई आज बने सब भाई भाई। हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई आज बने भाई भाई। सत्य दीप और शांति प्रेम की अंतर ज्योत जलाए। सत्य दीप और शांति प्रेम की अंतर ज्योत जलाए। आओ हम सब मिलकर दीप से दीप जलाए।
We will now be having a short presentation on some of the key health topics by 4 of our doctors, Sisters Pooja, Sindhu and Shankvi, and Brother Seshasai.
Good morning, everyone. Sairam. We're just going to be going through a few short talks just to sort of raise good health. Brother Sathya will start us off, and then we'll talk a bit about blood pressure, screening, and high cholesterol.
Om Shri Sai Ram, offering my humble pranams at the Divine Lotus Feet of Swami, recognizing that he is the healer and we are just doing his work. I wanted to very quickly talk about when you go to see a doctor, when they take a history from you in the consultation, how do you take advantage of that? How do you make the most out of it, with that 15-20 minutes that you have with the doctor? So when we start the consultation, we have to take a history. We start with a history to understand what's going on, as far back, as comprehensive as possible, to try and help us look at the various, we're not talking about that, to try and look at the various health systems that, everything that can explain the symptoms that you're having, try and piece those together. And then with the symptoms, we either rule in or rule out certain conditions. So we try and ask everything that can cause, let's say, a stomach pain or a headache or whatever. It can be a number of different systems. You may not have thought about it, but we kind of try and think, okay, could it be cardiovascular? Could it be neuro? Could it be, ENT? Could be a number of different things. So we try and ask various questions. So what you can do to help us is when you start noticing these symptoms, whatever it is, we have a framework of questions that we ask, and it's a pretty much set framework. So if you start to, let's say, write those down in your diary, keep track of those symptoms, then that'll help us sort of piece it together over time. We'll see a trend, which we can look at the trend and say, okay, it's more likely to be this. So just to, for example, if it's a headache, right, we're going to ask, where is the headache? Which sort of a specific part of the head is it? How does it come on? What's the onset like? What kind of a pain is it? Is it like a sharp pain? Is it a shooting pain? Is it a stabbing pain? Is it a throbbing pain? Then does it move anywhere? Is it just at the back, or does it kind of spread anywhere else? How quickly does it come on? Does it disappear? Are there other symptoms that you get? So with a headache, for example, you might get things like dizziness, shortness of breath. You might get blurriness of vision. Various other associated symptoms, as we call it. So if you can write down all of these kind of things that make it worse, things that make the pain better, and how bad the pain is. And then the other very, very important thing is if you can try and sort of, if you have that pain, whether it's intermittent or whether it's insidious pain, try and remember or try and think what may have caused that pain. Like, for example, if you have a headache sometime in the evening, and you've been, let's say, you've gone swimming and then you played football that day, or you've done a lot of physical exercise, you may be physically strained, you might be dehydrated, which may have caused a headache. That will help us kind of rule out, let's say, a more sinister cause. But if you haven't had any of those things, if you can think of, let's say, no obvious trigger, then that kind of makes us think about something else. So if you can just write down in your phone, in a notes, all of these things about let's say, each episode, and you're going to put it down, let's say, over a week, 2 weeks, however long you feel these symptoms. Because, the truth of the NHS is it takes a bit of time to get the appointments. So in that time, instead of just waiting and going about your life, you can, whenever you have these, whatever episodes, whatever complaints you have, if you can note it down on your phone, it will be really helpful for us to, piece it together. Thank you. Moving on.
So I'll be talking to you about a bit about blood pressure or high blood pressure. I think we have a few slides. That's okay. So high blood pressure, what we also call hypertension, is very, very common, especially amongst our community. It affects more than 1 in 4 adults. It's probably the second biggest risk factor for sort of early death, disability. It's very, very common in the GP land. It probably makes about 12% of all our consultations that we see in GP, and it's very much more common, especially in the deprived areas. So like I said, hypertension is a condition where your blood pressure in your vessels is higher than the normal that it should be, and this puts a strain on our hearts. It leads to then the vessels being damaged and then causing other problems like affecting kidneys and brain. What we aim to achieve is trying to maintain a healthy blood pressure. Usually the average is about 120 over 80. So we've got 2 numbers, the higher one being the systolic blood pressure, which is usually the force in which the heart pumps the blood around the body. The lower number is often the resistance to this blood flow in the vessels. So we often have 2 numbers, try to aim around the 120/80, but anything up to sort of the 140/90 mark is considered healthy. If we're starting going above these numbers, then we are risking other conditions, especially heart disease, strokes, heart attacks, kidney disease. So there are many ways. Firstly, risk factors, obviously us being mostly Asian. As we get older, all these are sort of risk factors that we probably have no control over. But there are other risk factors that are modifiable. So as we all know, living a healthy lifestyle, eating better, keeping our weight down, exercising regularly, and in our diet, watching the things that we eat. So cutting down the amount of salt that we eat it very much helps to keep the blood pressure as low and healthy as possible. Obviously, reducing smoking, drinking alcohol will also all help. So whenever you can, try to be aware of things that you can change to try and have a healthier heart, so that in the long run, as you get older, other conditions can be avoided. Thank you.
So Sai Ram, everybody. I've been given 5 minutes to talk to you about cholesterol and diabetes. So I'm going to be really quick and brief. But the whole point about this is just to make you aware of what you can do in your life to improve your health profile. So high cholesterol. Cholesterol is your fatty chemical that's carried in your bloodstream. And not all cholesterol is bad. So there is the HDL cholesterol, which is what we call the good cholesterol, and LDL cholesterol, which is your nasty cholesterol, which has side effects. Why does it matter? Well, it matters because if you have higher than normal levels of LDL in your blood, then it's likely to cause calcification and plaque formation in your arteries. And that means that the blood supply to your important organs is going to be limited. And if that happens to the brain at a critical point, that's a stroke. If that happens to the heart, that's a heart attack. If that happens to your sort of, feet and toes, that's peripheral vascular disease. So build-up of the naughty or nasty LDL cholesterol will lead to increased risk of disease. So why do we get build-up of cholesterol? Why do we get high cholesterol? Well, there are some things that are out of our control. So there are genetic factors. And as South Asians, unfortunately, we all have a higher risk of having higher cholesterol than our Caucasian counterparts. Age, so over the age of 40, you're more likely to have a higher cholesterol than not. Men are more likely to have raised cholesterol than women. And of course, you may have a family history of raised cholesterol. Then there are things I like to call diabetes, high blood pressure, and cholesterol, the three musketeers, so they often go together. So if you have high blood pressure, you may be more likely to have high cholesterol. If you have diabetes, you're more likely to have high cholesterol. And then there is lifestyle factors. So this is what we can do something about. So essentially, having a sedentary lifestyle, an unhealthy diet, being overweight, drinking too much, will all lead to a higher than normal cholesterol. Are there any signs and symptoms? No. So that's a problem with having a high cholesterol, is that you don't know you have a high cholesterol unless you actively seek to have it checked. How can you get it checked? So the 40-plus check that is offered in the NHS will check your lipid profile. There's a 50-plus check that will check your lipid profile. What some people may not be aware of is a lot of pharmacies will now check your cholesterol. So there's a finger prick test that's available to check your cholesterol. So you can walk into a lot of your community pharmacies and ask for a cholesterol check. So that actually it's available at a lot more places than we think it is available, and we should be proactively checking it regularly. What can you do about it? Well, you can eat healthier food, you can exercise, and you can either stop smoking or reduce it and keep your alcohol to within 14 units a week, okay? And in terms of exercise, this is not, we don't all have to be doing body pump in the gym like 5 times a week. This is just increasing the number of footsteps, making sure you go for regular walks, a swim. It doesn't have to be extreme forms of exercise to be able to lower your cholesterol. And actually, it doesn't even have to be 10,000 steps. So studies have shown that actually above 6,000 steps, you're more likely to be affecting a healthier life profile. So I'm now going to talk to you about diabetes. So all the food that we eat is essentially broken down into sugars. These sugars are absorbed into your bloodstream, and the sugars in your blood need to be within a very tightly regulated range. And if that sugar is higher than normal in your bloodstream, then it is likely to cause damage to your organs. And we have insulin, which is a hormone which regulates how much sugar there is in your body, and there is your liver, which also regulates how much sugar there is in your body. So if for some reason you're unable to regulate the amount of sugar in your body, That sugar then goes and deposits on organs and puts you at increased risk of heart disease, strokes, kidney disease, eye disease, and peripheral vascular disease. So actually it does have very, very far-reaching consequences when you have dysregulated sugar control in your body. Type 1 diabetes is a kind of diabetes people get in your childhood that is more genetic. Type 2 diabetes, however, which is by far the most commonest form of diabetes, and 90% of diabetes in the UK today is type 2 diabetes, is based on lifestyle. So risk factors are exactly almost the same as high cholesterol, so there is the genetic component. So as a South Asian population, we're 6 times more likely to get diabetes than our Caucasian counterparts, okay? So there's things that we can't do anything about, but then there are things that we can do things about, which is lifestyle. So a sedentary lifestyle, more likely to cause diabetes. Being overweight and obese, more likely to cause diabetes. Over the age of 40, unfortunately, more likely to cause diabetes. Family history of diabetes. For women who've had diabetes when they're pregnant, you're more likely to get diabetes. So you should be actively seeking to be checked for diabetes post-pregnancy. So in terms of what can we do to avoid diabetes, it's manage your weight, exactly the same as cholesterol, manage your exercise, and look at your lifestyle in terms of diet. So in terms of diets, whether it's for cholesterol, whether it's for diabetes, we want to be eating whole grains, unprocessed food. We want to be eating unrefined sugar. You want to be having a diet that's high in fiber, and you want to be having things like oats and plant-based proteins at least twice a week. Okay, Saira.
Saram, everyone. I'm going to talk to you about NHS screening program. So many of you may have at some point would have received a letter from your GP or a text message from your GP asking you to come to some kind of screening, like bowel cancer or cervical cancer. If we go on to the next slide, these are the types of screenings that we have. That the NHS provides. It's a screening in pregnancy, screening in newborn babies, diabetic eye screening, cervical screening, breast screening, bowel cancer screening, and abdominal aortic aneurysm screening. I'm going to try and not talk too much because I know you've been listening to a lot of speeches today. So I've actually got a couple of videos. Before we go on to that, just to talk about the benefits of screening, especially the South Asian population. We try to ignore these text messages that come from our GP, and we don't want to go to our screening programs, but it's very beneficial. It's a way of identifying in apparently healthy people who may have an increased risk of a particular condition. And it detects that problem early before you have any symptoms. And finding out about a problem early can mean that the treatment is more effective. And finding out that you have a health problem can also means that we can provide you information on it, and you can make an informed decision as to what to do from there. It reduces the chance of developing a condition or its complications, and some deaths from abdominal aortic aneurysms, from bowel cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer can be prevented by going to these and being tested. So, as with anything, there are limitations with it. So sometimes you can get a false negative where you're told that even if the screening result is normal or negative, you can still go on to develop the condition. And sometimes it can be positive when you don't actually have it. But it's always worth getting tested first. So if we go on to the next slide, please. This is the female NHS screening programme.
This is Mia. During her life, she'll be offered several screening tests. These could find health conditions before she gets symptoms. Screening is always a choice. Mia can decide which tests, if any, are right for her. When she's 12, Mia is offered diabetic eye screening because she has diabetes. This checks for early signs of diabetic retinopathy, a condition that can cause blindness if it's not treated. Mia will be invited for eye screening at least once every 2 years. Regular eye tests with her optician are different to screening. so Mia should still have those as well. Mia will soon turn 25 and has just got her first invitation for cervical screening, sometimes called the smear test. Cervical screening does not test for cancer. It looks for the human papillomavirus, known as HPV, which many people can have without even knowing. If the virus is found, screening checks for changes to cells in the cervix. These changes may lead to cancer if left untreated. Mia will be regularly invited for cervical screening until she is 64. Between the ages of 50 and 53, Mia is offered breast screening. She will be invited for breast screening every 3 years until her 71st birthday. It uses a type of X-ray test called a mammogram. This can spot breast cancers when they're too small to see or feel. She can then ask her local breast screening unit for an appointment every 3 years if she still wants to be screened. When she's 60, Mia is offered bowel cancer screening. She's sent a home test kit known as a FIT kit. A sample of her poo is checked for blood, which could be an early sign of bowel cancer. She'll get this kit every 2 years until her 75th birthday. From 75, Mia can call the screening program for a kit every 2 years if she wants to. Remember that screening is always a choice. You can decide which tests, if any, are right for you. For more information or support, speak to a doctor or visit nhs.uk/screening.
Okay, and if we move on to the next slide, that's the male NHS screening programme.
This is Ahmed. During his life, he'll be offered several screening tests. These could find health conditions before he gets symptoms. Screening is always a choice. Ahmed can decide which tests, if any, are right for him. When he's 12, Ahmed is offered diabetic eye screening because he has diabetes. This checks for early signs of diabetic retinopathy, a condition that can cause blindness if not treated. Ahmed will be invited for eye screening at least once every 2 years. Regular eye tests with his optician are different to screening, so Ahmed should still have those as well. When he's 60, Ahmed is offered bowel cancer screening. He's sent a home test kit known as a FIT kit. A sample of his poo is checked for blood, which could be an early sign of bowel cancer. He'll get this kit every 2 years until his 75th birthday. From 75, Ahmed can call the screening program for a kit every 2 years if he wants to. Around the time Ahmed turns 65, he's offered abdominal aortic aneurysm screening. This is a scan to look for a swelling in the main blood vessel that goes down from the heart. This swelling is called an aneurysm. If Ahmed has a swelling that bursts, he may die. But if found early, most aneurysms can be treated. Remember that screening is always a choice. You can decide which tests, if any, are right for you. For more information or support, speak to a doctor or visit nhs.uk/screening.
Thank you. So I think hopefully that provides a little bit of information on the NHS screening programme on high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes. And if you have any questions, please feel free to come and speak to us after the morning's programme. Thank you for listening. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you to our doctors, Sathya Sai, Sindhu, Pooja and Shankavi, for that enlightening and informative talk. As Shankavi said, if you would like to speak to them in more detail, please go speak to them after the bhajan. We will now conclude with aarati, followed by announcements.
असतो मा शब्दमया तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमया मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमया शांति शांति शांति। ओम तत्सत् श्री नारायण तु पुरुषोत्तम गुरु सिद्ध बुद्ध तु संत विनायक सविता पावक तु सविता पावक तु ब्रह्ममस्य तु ब्रह्मशक्ति तु विष्णुप्रीता प्रभु तु रुद्र विष्णु तु राम कृष्ण तु रही बताओ रही बताओ वासुदेव गौरेश्वर रूप तु चिदानंद हरि तु अद्वितीय तु अकाल निर्भय आत्मलिंग शिव तु आत्मलिंग शिव तु आत्मलिंग शिव तु। ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्ति महेश्वरा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीधरा सर्वा प्राणपति स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपति आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद्बांधवा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे माता पिता गुरुदेव मरियं नीवे स्वामी मरियं नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्राशयना। ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूपावत श्री साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती अंतु मंगल आरती अंतु मंगल गिरिधारी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरु शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदानं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदानं बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि Sacred, holy and supreme with Baba's vibuti, pouring forth the Savior's feet, its flare of vibuti. So sweet as is His wine, it grants liberation. Baba's vibuti, its power protects me. Paramam pavitram, Baba vibhuti. परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूति परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूति परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूति परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदानं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदानं बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि
I would like to invite Group 3 student Pranav to read the quote for the week.
I offer my most humble pranams to the lotus feet of our dearest Swami, respected elders, brothers and sisters, Jai Sai Ram. The quote of the week is, before you speak, ask yourself, is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it true? Does it improve the silence? Baba, Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Pranav. I would now like to invite Anjane to read the thought for the week.
I offer my most humble pranams at the lotus feet of our dearest Swami, respected elders, brothers and sisters, Jai Sai Ram. Habits can be changed and character refined through conscious effort. People will always have within them, within their reach, the capacity to change their evil propensities and evil habits. Through selfless service, renunciation, devotion, prayer, and reasoning, the old habits that bind people can be discarded, and the new habits that take them along the divine path can be instilled into their lives.
Prema Vahini Part 1, Sai Ram.
Thank you, Anjane. So we would like to wish all youth and adults a safe and blissful trip as they make their journey to Prashanthi over the next 2 weeks for the Global Young Adults Conference and the Medical Conference. This brings us to the end of the morning's program. Please note that the cake prasadam that's being served as you leave the hall does contain nuts. And we request everyone to maintain silence and allow the Barbie class children to leave for their classes. Please have a blessed week ahead. Jai Sai Ram.
Sathya Devaya Dhimah